Hi, my name is Brian, and today we'll be talking about human beings and how we are social, both our morality and our social responsibility as human beings. There's a lot of questions, so I'm just gonna go down the line. Human beings are not meant to be in isolation, clearly. We're meant to be in relationship to God, each other, and creation. So I think that's clear both in the sense that there's no society where people live on their own. That I'm pretty sure in every society that the social norm is to be in a family or in some group setting. For the relationship with God, we talk strictly about Christianity or Catholicism in this class, and that's our relationship with God. But there's also tons of other religions throughout the world that they all have some relationship with either God or another higher being. And with creation, something as simple as dogs. They're part of God's creation and ourselves, but we have them as companions. We keep them in our houses. We interact with the animals and the other living beings in this world. So we have a relationship with the creation that God has provided us as well. An example of why we need each other would be the story of Adam and Eve. And in the Garden of Eden, Adam lived on his own after being created by God, and God decided that he needed a companion. So he took, I think it was Adam's rib bone, one of his rib bones, and created Eve and gave it to Adam as a companion. So he wasn't alone. Even though he did have the relationship with God, God realized that humans are social, and how he created us is that we need each other. So he created a companion for Adam, so he wasn't alone in the Garden of Eden. So the responsibilities in our community, I think that boils down to your roles in the community. So mothers and fathers, they have to take care. Their role is providing and caring for their family. Any leaders of the community, they guide and direct their community to better themselves. And I think that respective community impacts the U.S. society. So, like our community, say around Aston, whether we're doing well as a community or poorly, it somehow affects the U.S. In all. Even though we're very small compared to the entirety of the U.S., we have some impact on them. And on the global community, clearly the U.S. has an impact on the global community. You can see with what our politics are and how we're interacting with other countries, we have a huge impact. The other question, which is totally out of the blue, is can robots fulfill the function of elements in our community? They can fulfill some of it, more the physical needs of our community. So they could take on a lot of the roles of trash collection. They could do a lot of our jobs if they're programmed well. Some of the stuff that they cannot do is be social. So you kind of need that human essence to be able to interact with one another. I don't think that robots could ever fulfill that unless we have some really complicated AI from some sci-fi movie. And the last question is, what does it mean to be in community? I think being part of a community is part of being human, because nowhere in this world do people live secluded and in isolation. People live in secluded communities, but they're still in a community. There are very few, I think the word is hermits, that live completely isolated on their own by themselves. They at least have a family or live in a small community.